All right. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? How is it going? I am no one. And in today's video, I wanted to bump up a video I was going to do later on this week. I wanted to have a discussion about time to kill. I've been having this discussion on my Discord quite a bit, and I wanted to just have it out there in the ether so that when Intrepid made changes, it existed and we could have a discussion and we could talk about things and, how we can have good time to kill that exists in Ashes of Creation and, ways we could go about getting it. Well, I'm bumping this up because I got an email from Intrepid today talking about time to kill and how they already have a PTR gear and stat rebalance playtest that are going to be going live tomorrow and the next day. And so I wanted to read that, kind of wanted to talk about it, and kind of wanted to talk to you guys about the video I was going to do and what I hope they get out of these tests and what I hope to see for them going forward. So let's just dive into it. NDA reminder, ongoing testing on the private test realm is currently under visual NDA. Streaming, video recording, and screenshots of testing on the PTR are prohibited outside of designated NDA channels. Any violation of this policy will result in immediate suspension of your Intrepid account. Please do not share anything visual from this test. Glorious Ashes of Creation PTR testers. We've started our revamp of stats and gear, and we want to get your eyes on it. We plan to have PTR tests on Tuesday, April 8th from noon to 6th, Wednesday, April 9th from noon to 6. The PTR may open earlier than the time shown above if we're ready early each day. Please note that these testing schedules may change with little notice. Since we're constantly working on the game, there may be close calls regarding when server builds will be ready for each test and how you can update via the launcher. Expect updates from us shortly before each test. While we know this isn't the ideal testing situation, we truly do want to make you feel part of our development process. We'll keep everyone up to date about when the PTR is available each day in Discord. Please make sure you're in Discord and are able to see NDA Alpha 2 PTR channels. Those Discord channels will be the fastest way for us to communicate with you during tests on the PTR. Important information. Communication. Join our official Discord server. To see the NDA Alpha 2 PTR channels, you will need to connect your Intrepid account to get the role with the corresponding Discord account you wish to chat on, as this will be the fastest way to communicate during the playtest. Download and update. We will most likely have an update available for the PTR the days of the test. Please give yourself some time to download this game update. If you need the Ashes of Creation launcher, you can download it here. Playtest overview. Test a variety of levels. We'd like to see how character feels at different levels. Please test PvE starting from level 1, level 15, and level 25. Gustavus, a character boost NPC, has been set up to make this easier for PTR testers. Gustavus, character boost NPC outside the portal room where the characters start, and in a few locations during this test. Gustavus is available to boost characters. He's got level 15 and 25 boost scrolls, experience potions, and increase XP rates and equipment. Hopefully they have ways to enchant this gear as well. I think enchanting is important to see, just the escalation of stats. PvE, PvP, solo, and group play. This test isn't guided like some other PTR tests have been. Please both test solo play and organize with other testers to check out group play. Our goal is getting feedback on how things like stats and time to kill feels compared to your most recent Alpha 2 testing experiences. We appreciate PTR testers that are available to test how stats have been rebalanced. Here are a few things to pay attention to during testing. How did solo and group PvE time to kill against enemy NPCs feel? How did solo and group PvE enemy NPCs difficulty feel? How did healing in PvE situations feel? How did healing in PvP situations feel? How did PvP TTK against players feel? How did the game's balance regarding things like stats and TTK feel compared to your previous Alpha 2 tester experience? Thanks in advance to anyone that can join us for PTR testing this week. So, that's the article I got. I will have some gameplay in the background. Overall, just about everybody knows that time to kill, if you've been playing in Alpha 2, it's way too low right now. It's to a point to where when you get higher level gear, you're one-shotting, two-shotting most opponents. That's not fun. There's no active reactive combat. There's no impact of abilities really felt outside of damage. It's just... There's that coupled with a few other things makes like outnumbered group PvP really tough to manage. And overall, it's not fun for a lot of players. I saw Zyback did a really good video a couple days ago, yesterday, the day before, talking about it. And I agreed with just about everything he said as well about TTK. The only thing I disagreed with is that this is an easy fix. And I think for this specific game, in other games in PvP, if damage is too high, you can just kind of curb back damage. You can lower the value felt in PvP. And and it's not that big of a deal. In this game, there you have all these other types of encounters. You have encounters in the Ashen Floor, or in the Forge. You have encounters in the Tower of Carfid. You have to fight otters or minotaurs or anything else in the world. And so you have all these different NPCs that you're fighting against that have different values. And if all of a sudden you halved your overall damage, it has a drastic impact on what you can do in these other environments as well. And so you could make huge changes from a PvP perspective, but you end up just absolutely screwing people over if they're trying to grind for Carfin gear, because now all of a sudden, you're DPSing a boss, and now your tank is taking more damage, your clerics are running more mana. It's just a little, it's the longer things take in those types of environments, the more damage you're taking, the more your resources are being felt, and it may not feel very fun in those environments with your resources staying and stuff like that. And so it's a tightrope style act that they have to walk across, in my opinion, in order to get all this to feel pretty good in an environment. But from my perspective, I've played quite a few different MMORPGs, different PvP games. This is what I like, of course. And I've played games with extremely low time to kill. Ashes of Creation Alpha 2, as far as an MMORPG goes, is definitely the lowest right now. And I have played impossibly high time to kill games where literally, if you played perfectly, like in a chess game, they say if you play chess perfectly, both players draw. Well, in this game, if both players played perfectly, nobody ever dies. And so I've played those types of PvP games as well, where things just get thrown so out of whack, nobody ever dies, and it's unfun because you're playing player versus player. And if they kind of know what they're doing, you just don't get to kill them. And it's just really shitty and unenjoyable. And so we could all talk about our individual experiences. I know I could wax nostalgically about my favorite games and, the time to kill in those games and whatnot, but it's not really helpful for Ashes of Creation. And so I think there's a very simple benchmark in Ashes of Creation for getting good time to kill. And that's this. On both the low end and the high end of time to kill, where damage is way too high and people are dying too fast, and damage is way too low and players are never dying, what you have are both scenarios where status effects aren't impactful, right? Imagine currently right now, if you're a fighter or a cleric and you're fighting the opposite one. So if you're a cleric fighting a fighter, if you're a fighter fighting a cleric, in the current state of the game, a fighter just is going to bop a cleric really, really fast if they have high enough gear. And there's never a situation where if a fighter beats a cleric, the cleric is sitting there going, wow, that wound that they applied to me was really impactful, guys. They really reduced my healing, and then I couldn't sustain, and I had to cast way more things, and I was just stuck there auto-attacking, trying to do something, and he did a really good job of keeping a status effect on me and applying it, and he just wore me down and killed me that way. It's literally, you get bopped in a couple seconds if you don't have skills on cooldown, you're just gonna die. And so in that situation, wound isn't impactful. In a high TTK situation, in a similar situation where people don't die, wound is also not impactful. And so what I would say is currently, from my experience with my geared out ranger, most duels versus other DPS characters for me last 5 to 10 seconds. It's basically whoever hits first, whoever procs a silence first, whoever gets a good root, they typically win. Fights last 5 to 10 seconds, they're over. The only fights that last longer for me are versus tanks, clerics, and bards. And still those are very, very short. They're very short fights. And so what I would do is I would double the time to kill. And right now, if it's 5 to 10 seconds, I would double it to 20 seconds. And I would run tests on the PTR and then introduce it to Alpha 2 and have it run for a couple weeks. And then what I would do is get feedback. If people like it, they're like, hey, this is better, this is feeling a lot better, I would up the time to kill to 30 seconds and I would do it again. And I would get feedback. And if the feedback was better or about the same, I would up it to 40 seconds. And then I would up to 50 seconds. And then when I would stop is when you finally got to a point to where people provided feedback and they said, no, this feels worse. Right? I would continue upping time to kill until it feels worse, because there is a point in PvP games where you can, especially, and I'm not talking from a dueling perspective either, there's situations where in higher time to kill, player coordination comes into effect, right? Like being able to burst at the same time, being able to coordinate different status effects, applying a root, having other rangers hitting your barrage or scattershot into an area to coordinate burst into a spot to take out large groups of opponents is a form of skill. It's a form of coordination. Currently, that coordination doesn't really need to exist right now. It's just go pew and people die, right? And so that's how I would approach it. I would constantly up time to kill and continue to test it and just kind of feel it out in this game, because there's a lot of fun nuance that exists within characters. Like I fight some of my fighter friends. I played fighter in phase 1. I played ranger in phase 2. And in my opinion, a lot of other MMORPGs have always gotten ranged versus melee combat wrong. And one of the cool things that I've heard from Intrepid during their live streams is they actually understand how that kind of nuance and play comes into play. And when you look at these different kits, you can kind of see it. You see fighter having gap closers to close the distance on a ranger. And you see ranger has traps, they have roots, they have silences, they have evades. And so it becomes this cat and mouse game, right? So the cat is obviously the fighter, gap closing, pouncing, jumping on you, trying to dish out damage. And you're either dancing away or setting up a trap so that you can hit a longer to cast ability to take them out. Currently, none of that really exists in fighter versus ranger. I don't exhaust my kit trying to silence and trap and vine a fighter. I literally just kill them in 5 seconds, or they kill me in 5 seconds. And so we will eventually reach a situation to where you will feel that kit fleshed out more, and it'll be really fun when time to kill gets higher. Now, that could be the 20-second point, that could be the 30-second point, 60 seconds. I don't know when it's going to be, but that's when you want to have these impactful kits being felt, because then when time to kill is lower than where it's at right now my ranger, I have to apply, I have to utilize my traps wisely. I need to utilize my silence wisely. I need to hit my burst combos. And if I hit a burst combo against a fighter, they need to be able to build up their momentum to potentially either use berserk and get a heal off, or just stay on top of me and avoid these sorts of things. And that becomes a skill-based interaction. And I could talk a lot. This is what my video is going to be about, but I could talk a lot about the fighter also. Their momentum isn't really impactful in PvP right now. There's never a point where you're in a backline trying to take out a bunch of people, and the more you're taking people out and you're building momentum, you get to go berserk and you get to go ham. No, people just die. People just die way too quickly. And so you're not feeling the impact of these specialty resources, these specialty impactful debuffs and stuff like that. And so overall, I'm just echoing the same sentiment that everybody else has said, but regardless of whatever these tests feel like, I think Intrepid should still boost increased time to kill in a future test, a month or 2 months or 2 months or 3 months down the line. I think they should still boost it to see if that's even better, and continue to do so, because we're going to be in Alpha 2 for a while. It's going to be phase 3 is going to last at least a year, they said. And so we have all this time to test these impacts. And the more we test this, the more we refine it, the more the skill of each of these individual archetypes is fleshed out and felt, the more players are going to come back to the combat in this game and really latch onto it. And those are my thoughts. I'm going to end this video here. If you guys have any questions or comments, please provide in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to answer it. As always, guys, thank you for watching. Have a nice day. All right, really quick add-on at the end of this video. Phase 3 is coming up in a month, and we are recruiting for Syndicate. So if you guys are interested in small scale PvP, if you guys are interested in small scale outnumbered PvP, where everybody kind of works together to advance gear, to advance progress, work together to get better in a small group situation, fighting large groups of players, feel free to apply. I will provide a link in the description to the Discord. You join the Discord and then you can apply to Syndicate there. We'll look through things. We want players that have been playing in Alpha 2 already, but if you're playing in phase 3, let us know. Let us know previous history and whatnot, and we'll look through your applications. Hope to see you there, guys. Have a good one.